Hello colleagues, this is Being a Teacher Educator 1.2, and the question we're going to discuss today is, what are my purposes and values as a teacher educator? It links to a core chapter in our book, Being a Teacher Educator, and to the 1.2 Substack article. So I guess we can just start with school, really, rather than think about teacher education. Let's think about that. What is school for? If you're teaching in a college or in a university, you could think, what is college for? I guess you could think, what is university for? What's a degree for? But it's helpful to think about school, I think. So what is school for? Well, an education philosopher, Gert Biester, that's B-I-E-S-T-A, Gert Biester, has written and developed a framework, and with apologies to Gert for simplifying it horribly, I'm going to use it today. So Gert Biester argues that there are three domains of purpose for education. The first one is knowledge and qualification. That seems like common sense. I guess if we think about school, there's the curriculum content, and of course it's contested. Who decides what should be the content of the curriculum and how it's assessed and so on. The second area of Gert Biester's framework is socialization. And I guess if you asked students at your school or your college or university what is education for, they might say to get a good job. And in socialization, Gert Biester does include that as one of three areas. But first, he puts family. Second, he puts citizenship. And thirdly, employment or employability. So that second area of socialization, that seems important to me. And it's thinking about how we consider the success of schooling. Is it about employability, or is it about citizenship, even global citizenship? Okay, and the third area in Gert Biester's framework for the domains of purpose of education is something that he's developed himself a little bit. It's called subjectification. Subjectification meaning that there's some room, some space in education for an individual to develop in a unique way. That's interesting, isn't it? Because it makes me think about, say, tightly defined learning outcomes and assessment criteria. Are we sometimes getting learners just to jump through hoops? And what if they respond in a way that's personal, that's unique to them, and that somehow expresses who they are or who they are becoming? So subjectification, it's an interesting area. Now there's plenty of, there's some critique of Biester's framework and, some development of it. But one idea that Gert Biester comes up with is to do with what he calls learnification. This is the kind of cultural shift towards away from good teaching and towards measuring learning during the sort of neoliberal policy era that we've been through. Learnification would mean, I guess, that school is about facts and test results. A kind of grad grind Dickensian view of schooling. And Biester refers to the age of measurement, and I recommend his. If you Google good education in an age of measurement, you should find an open access paper that talks about these three purposes. But also, I recommend his book if you can get hold of it, Good Education in an Age of Measurement. And that age of measurement, I guess, is what I often refer to as an age of accountability, where teacher performativity, school, an emphasis on school results and data analysis and so on, very crude data analysis based on children's national test and exam results. And that age of measurement or age of accountability probably spanned from 1980 to 2020, at least in the UK. However, some school leaders and policymakers still seem to think we're in the age of measurement or accountability, and there's a kind of hangover. Hopefully we're a kind of transition zone, but no one's yet decided what the next age might be. So thinking about the purpose of education then, let's now think about teacher education. What is teacher education for? So on your program, no doubt you have program aims and learning outcomes and maybe some professional teacher standards that you work to. Is that sufficient? For example, on knowledge and qualification, can you really, during a teacher education program, provide all the knowledge that a teacher needs? Clearly no. We know that a good teacher probably develops during their first 5 years of work, 5 to 8 years, according to Chris Day and Chingu, before they really are cooking on gas, really effective and a complete teacher in some way. And all of us who've been in education know that you carry on learning. You never stop. I mean, in a way, that's one of the joyful things about working in education, that it's a continuous learning profession. So what is your teacher education course trying to achieve in terms of knowledge and qualification? I mean, my idea, by the way, for me would be that what I want to do through my programs is build capacity for professional inquiry. So all right, the teachers, especially pre-service teachers, need some basic stuff so that they can survive, right? So that they can get into the classroom and be reasonably effective in a practical sort of way. But more importantly, I would say, is a disposition for professional inquiry and some skills for professional inquiry. And if I can give them that, then I'm setting them up well to continue their professional learning in post. I mean, what about the socialisation domain of purpose, Gert Biester's second domain of purpose? If we apply that to teacher education, fair enough, it's about getting them qualified, getting them employed as a teacher, sure. But what about the citizenship element of that? To what extent does your programme help teachers to understand the significance of the children and their background, their parents, the community? When they go to a school, how much are you preparing them for that? And also under citizenship, I guess, what about the big picture? To what extent does your programme help teachers to understand their place in society and in the economy and in the culture of their national setting? So what is a teacher and what should they be and what role do they have in society? I wonder how much you are preparing them for that formally, or are they just picking that up as they go along? And finally, subjectification, the third domain of purpose for, in Gert Biester's framework. So to what extent is your programme trying to kind of print out oven-ready teachers, who tick the standards? Is that it? Is that sufficient? Are you allowing those teachers to develop as unique human beings, as individual teachers? After all, there's more than one way of skinning a cat. There's more than one way of being a teacher. Now, so far, I've just been, thinking about purposes, but what about values? I mean, the one thing I'd throw in at the end here is, to what extent are you working for social justice through education? Is that a big part of your agenda? And if it is, how are you preparing your student teachers, your pre-service teachers, to work for social justice through education? Is that a value you hold dear? And how does your programme prepare teachers for that activity in their future work? Okay, that's enough for today. Thank you very much, and good luck.